All right, let's move on. Serie A, Heath Pierce. Coppa Italia news, by the way, we're going to have a two-legged Milan derby in the semifinals, which is going to be interesting. But Serie A in itself is so tight. And we got Napoli against Inter and Atalanta against Juventus, which is, the battle for fourth, I guess. Talk to me about these games specifically, I guess. Napoli-Inter, Heath Pierce.
Yeah, I mean, Inter comfortably bounced back against from their loss to Milan with a win in the Cup over Roma. I think that was a huge statement. If you go back to when they lost to Lazio, I think back in September, October time, they went on their run. It was this bounce back moment, and we saw that. Same as, like I mentioned a million times on the show, when they beat Milan in, I think, around January, February of last year. They just went on this run. So that bounce back now, beating Roma is a huge thing for them. They obviously have Liverpool coming up, which is going to be difficult as well. They have Napoli, they have sexy Sassuolo. So they don't have the easiest of schedules with regard to the title race. But this is one against Napoli that Inter have to win. They're at home in this one. Again, like I said, this is the momentum swinger for them. If they want to be the legitimate title winner, and I still think that they are the best team in the league, they have to be able to beat Napoli. Having said that, I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think Napoli are sort of treated as the West Ham, so to speak, of this league in terms of getting the respect of continuing to go punch for punch with everybody. While we talk about, will AC Milan win the title? Will Inter Milan win the title? And Napoli's just sort of sticking around. So that's going to be a difficult one. I can see this one ending in a draw, almost like a fair little handshake, knowing that they could split points here and take their talents and energies to take on the rest of the league to fight for the title race.
Yeah, I agree with Heath with regard to Napoli not maybe getting the respect they deserve. And for a while, it felt like maybe they aren't as good as we thought they were. They started off the season super hot, and then Victor Osimhen got hurt. Now he's back, and he just scored against Venezia in the last game, started and scored. It's not like he came off the bench and they're easing him back in. He started, he's back out there, and he makes their attack so much more dangerous.
No Chucky, though.
No Chucky, I get that, but conversely, let's use Atalanta, who just lost Duvan Zapata for 3 months. Yeah. They start to become a little bit more predictable because they don't have what Zapata brings. Now with Osimhen back, that's going to open up more space for Zielinski, who started this last one, and Insigne. You have Politano. Like, all those guys were very good.
Less pressure on Dries Mertens as well. Like, he's going to be.
That's exactly right. And then when Koulibaly comes back, right, because he just helped Senegal win an AFCON, they start to get back to the team that only gave up, 3 goals in their first 10 or something crazy, some crazy defensive stat where they were unbelievable defensively. And that's what's going to keep them in the conversation. So obviously getting a good result against Inter Milan, who Alexis Sanchez looks like, what? He's like Coutinho. Like, what are these guys doing? You're supposed to be good 10 years ago. And he scored an absolute peach of a goal against Roma. And I like this Inter team because they're not just 11 deep. They have 14, 15, 16 guys that they can count on to make a good run. And when Robin Gosens gets healthy, which was a really smart purchase, I thought, for the left side of their team from Atalanta, they're going to be even more dangerous and even more balanced. So I could see a draw here. I could see them splitting the points, and no one would be surprised, I think, if we saw a 1-1.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, Inter Milan are also still probably thinking about that Milan derby from last weekend as well, and they want to rectify that as well. By the way, Napoli are at home. They're
my bad. I messed that up.
You good, brother. This is why I said it.
I'm an idiot.
I'm the smartest man alive because I brought that up. Hey, listen, Napoli are unbeaten in 14 of their last 15 home games against Inter Milan. So that should be interesting. Heath, give me a quick prediction in this one. Then Napoli hosting Inter. First against second, by the way.
Well, yeah, it's first and now Napoli are at home, which changes everything. And now I'm just going back to all the people on Twitter that attack me for saying I'm an idiot when it comes to Serie A, and I never get it right. And I never get it right, guys. I'm so sorry. No, this is. I mean, my prediction here is the draw. Obviously, you see the number, the plus 255 on the draw. I think they're not expecting that for obvious reasons, but I could see this one playing out in that specific way. Neither team really wanting to give an inch to get all 3 points, and that finishing in a low scoring affair, and likely on a point each.
Well, there you have it. Well, let's keep going here very quickly. Atalanta, Juventus. I mean, this should be a very tasty game here. Jimmy Conrad, Dusan Vlahovic in the house. He obviously, shut off a few mouths in case anybody was criticizing the move of thinking that it's going to take him time or whatever. Less than 15 minutes, he gets going as well as Sicaria as well. Juventus are doing well, but now they're facing Atalanta, who do need help. What do you see?
Yeah, I'll start with Atalanta. Fantastic. The best away record in Serie A. 9 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses. That's next level. But at home, only 3 wins, 4 draws, and 4 losses. Just not the same gravy when they play at home. Now, as I mentioned before, Devon Zapata being out, I think that makes them a little bit more predictable. They're coming off a home loss this last weekend against Cagliari, that helped Cagliari get out of the relegation zone. So maybe lacking that little bit of urgency in some capacity to have to fight for every single ball for whatever reason. I love Gasperini. I think he's a terrific manager. But when you match them up against this Juve team who, with Vlahovic, could they've had a better start with their new signings with Vlahovic and Zachary? I mean, it's unbelievable. Those 2 guys are on fire. And what I loved about Vlahovic is that his movement has inspired Morata. All of a sudden, seems like he got a little bit sharper in his gameplay. Dybala's got somebody to play into those channels ahead of him, which led to the first goal, kind of off of his shoulder. He could be a little bit more of the second forward. I like Juve in this one. I don't think they're going to slow down. This Vlahovic signing, I think, is really going to turn their season around. If Atalanta were away from home and playing in Turin, I'd be like, well, they haven't lost away from home, but for whatever reason, they just kind of suck at home. And without Zapata, I just think that Juve are going to have enough to steal all 3 points.
Yeah, it blows my mind, Jimmy. And by the way that you're talking about Vlahovic is the same way that I talked about Lukaku when he got to Chelsea of like, it's made all these players better. But like it's paying off right away. And you can see the instant sort of connection and the style of play and the dynamic movements that he has that just bring players around. And I agree with Jimmy on this one. Juventus are too good. I mean, you're talking about fighting for top 4, but if Juventus can keep this up, and I know that the top 3 are also all in great form. If you look at just their form guides, they're all just sort of humming along. So it could be too big of a reach for Juventus to get there. But if you take down an Atalanta, the belief system starts to change that, maybe we can just go on this long run, especially with the fact that they've had additions. And it's not just the current team of having current form. They've had some exit of some players that I think were surplus to requirements in the transfer window. So I think Juventus win this one. And I think Juventus continue to go on this run and just wait for anybody in the top 3 even to slip up for 1-2 games where they can kind of smell a little bit of that blood and maybe start to insert themselves into the conversation for a top 3 finish, which is very different.
No, I totally agree. This is it. Juventus are on fine form. And if they can win this one, right, because they're only a spot above Atalanta, I'm looking at their schedule in Serie A. And, everything should be looking pretty good until around April when they have to host Inter Milan. So they really need to take full advantage of what they've done. They had a great transfer window in January, and now it's time for them to really claim, as you said, Heath Pierce, not just 4th, but going up even higher. Let's go and take a look at the rest of those fixtures in Serie A. Des Norris, as we look ahead to some league action in Italy. Jimmy Conrad, anything that speaks to you regarding those fixtures? Des Norris took them away just like he brought them in.
Yeah, I actually want to see AC Milan taking on Sampdoria. I want to see a sexy Olivier Giroud continue to bang in the goals. I mean, the guy's been unbelievable. Yeah. He's in good form. He's keeping Zlatan on the bench, who I think is now actually back and ready to go. When Brahim Diaz starts, they're a different team. I think he does very, very well underneath the striker, Rafael Leao. I'm a big, big fan of him. And if all these guys are playing well, they're not too far off of still staying in the conversation for the Scudetto. I just feel like we saw them have a little bit of a slump, and I think they're going to have another one. Now it's just a matter of, and this goes for all the teams, but can they minimize that slump and try to elongate, their good run of form? And this is a good opportunity against the team they should beat. They have to beat the teams that they should beat.
Giovinco, Sampdoria too.
That's right. I forgot he was back. Cute as a button.
I know. Cute as a button, man. Don't forget him in your list. Heath Pierce. Anything else from there?
Yeah, the team that I've got my eye on, or the match that I've got my eye on, is Sassuolo Roma. Sassuolo being those giant killers that we've seen in the past, and Roma just continuing to sort of linger. And when I think about that, I think about just the standards that Jose Mourinho has set there. They're in a bad run of form right now. I believe, losing 2 of their last 3, winless, and I believe their last 3. I could be wrong on that, but just seeing that matchup, knowing that Roma, currently sitting 7th, can continue to fall down further down the table if they're not able to get a result in this one. And so I just look at this and I go, while we all got caught up in Milan, Inter, and we're caught up now in the weekend's games of Napoli against Inter and Atalanta, Juve, there's this other thing happening in the league, and Jose Mourinho's there, and it feels like it's bubbling on disaster.
Yeah, it is indeed. And I won't even read what Maria said in the locker room after the Inter defeat, but you kind of get the gist. So we'll see what happens there. And by the way, all these games on Paramount Plus, make sure that you subscribe for your 7-day free trial. So much action, and it's on Paramount Plus.